I'm sure that some of you can benefit from asking questions to the panelists. So we have time for 2-3 questions, please. Yeah, please. Just introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. Alexander Berlin, formerly from the European Commission. I have, in fact, 3 very short comments with associated questions. First of all, when one is putting together all the countries of the Eastern Partnership, Ukraine, in terms of population and economics, represents more than all the other countries together. So that when really showing that there are a number of activities taking place in relation to Ukraine as compared with the others is not really fair, because they're really, Ukraine in terms of population exceeds all the other countries together. So how could one really relativize the importance of the activities? Second, though, it's on the visa liberalization issue. Just very quickly, the question of Moldova was mentioned very en passant in a number of cases, but Moldova has a very special case because Romania provides Romanian passports for all the Moldovans that want it. And I can tell you that all the Moldovans at the Ministry of Health have Romanian passports. So their travel to the European Union, whether there is a liberalization of policy with Moldova or not, it doesn't really matter at all because they travel and they can stay in Third is on the issue of the patents, because basically the patent issue, to what extent having joint patent can one really, how is the issue handled in terms of joint patents between the European Union and the countries of the Eastern Partnership? And finally, when you mentioned the issue of priorities, health, energy, climate, and environment, the only one that has really obvious economic implications is energy. Would you mind commenting on all these points very briefly?
Okay. Just before you will answer, I'd like to introduce Alexander Berlin, who raised a question and made comments. Alexander Berlin is Honorable Director of European Commission, DG Sanko, and Doctor of which science? Economic science? And economic PhD? PhD? And Doctor of Political Science. Okay.
Okay, I'll start and give time for other panelists to contemplate. Thank you for your rather complicated questions, but I will try to answer at least to some of them, and I will start with the last one on the energy. Of course, you are aware about the current negotiations which are going on between Ukraine and Russia, and it's an issue, of course, not only of price for certain amount of gas, but on a strategic. So, position of Ukraine, for example. Just recently, I watched Russian TV, which says we already gave a discount. And why Ukraine doesn't accept it. The position of the Ukrainian government is not just to accept a discount, but to come to a stable, transparent contract where a fixed amount or fixed price will be present and no other political circumstances will influence this price. So it's a position of Ukraine. And I hope as a matter of compromise, a final price will be negotiated very soon. Also, we must keep in mind that Ukraine has joined the energy community, and unfortunately we haven't mentioned it, but it's another form of the Eastern Partnership. There are a number of policy communities which are developing, and the energy community is the most prominent one. It was devised as a sort of membership without, integration without membership in the EU within certain sector. So Ukraine committed itself to adopt, to implement almost all EU energy acquis. I must say, I a little bit studied this issue. There were some successes on this road, but also failures, because basically Ukraine failed to implement most of its commitments, if we consider relatively. So it gives me some hint that the same kind of problems in implementing the EU acquis Ukraine will face after the signature of the association agreement, because it's very costly. And this discussion has been going for a long time. Who will pay for sudden drastic change of standards, requirements, and metrology, especially in face of sudden loss of the eastern market, of the Russian market, and especially for the eastern regions. It explains partly why we have this conflict in the east. So energy is very important, and we have problem with the implementation, it must be admitted, due to its high cost and political cost. And with regard to your other questions, especially on visa liberalization, of course you are right. Moldovans, not all of them. There are many cases when I asked many of my Moldovan colleagues, do you have a Romanian passport? They all deny. They all deny, but yes, maybe you know better. However, we have the same problem in Ukraine, it must be admitted. And this issue must be somehow regulated and solved. Officially, Ukraine doesn't allow double citizenship, but I suspect thousands, at least, of our Ukrainian nationals have already obtained Hungarian passports, Romanian passports, Polish passports, and plus Russian passports. And the process is going on very actively in the light of this current conflict. But in terms of visa liberalization, we must, from legal point of view, I don't see any problem. It's just 90 days free travel. It doesn't imply any work permit and residence permit. So it's a challenge, but I hope the EU will be able to absorb about not 40 millions of Ukrainians coming for tourist reasons, and it would give some benefit to the European tourist infrastructure. So we'll see. I hope I give some time for you, so please.
Very short comment also on Romanian passports in Moldova. I do not possess any concrete figures or calculations, but as far as I know, in Brussels there are figures like 10 or 20 maximum % of Moldovan population have Romanian passports. So visa facilitation, it still matters and still very important, and that very tangible element of Moldovan European Union relations. It is still very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you. So any other questions? No enthusiasm in the room. I think everybody is dreaming about lunch, but you can of course approach all speakers directly by using lunch or coffee breaks or maybe evening reception. Thank you very much for your attention. Enjoy lunch.